haven't seen my latest video, I recently read Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler and I adored this book. This book was so good, but ever since then I have not picked up another book, so I think it is about time for me to do that today. So I picked these 3 books that could be potential 4 or 5 star reads, and I picked them based off of 3 little rules. And that first rule is the plot. If a book has a really good plot and it is fast paced, then it's easier for me to read, hence it could possibly be a 4 or 5 star read. And for that little rule, I am picking The Plot by Hanff Korelitz. Now I don't know if the plot of the plot is actually good, or if it's even mentioned, but it does kind of remind me of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which I recently read, and bless you, mamas. Now, it does remind me of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which I did recently read, and I can't remember what I gave it, probably like a 4 star. But this is basically about a professor who, one of his students is bragging about how he has this amazing plot set up and is going to be like the next award-winning novel. At first, Jake, who is a teacher, he thinks that he is just being a narcissist, but then he hears the plot and it is actually very good, and his student mysteriously dies, and so he steals the plot story and he publishes it as his own. So that is for rule number 1. So for my little rule number 2 of what can make a book a 5 star is read a thriller. If you don't know, my favorite genre is thriller mystery. So for that, I am picking The Fury by Michaelides. Now I am kind of cheating because this does kind of go into rule number 3, which I will mention in a little bit. I don't know what it is about, so I'm going to read you the description. This is a tale of a murder, or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart, it's a love story, isn't it? Lana Farrar is an exclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic private Greek island. I tell you this because you may think you know the story, you probably read about it at the time. It caused a real stir in the tabloids. If you remember, it had all the necessary ingredients for a press sensation: a celebrity, a private island caught off by the wind, and a murder. We found ourselves trapped there overnight. Our old friendships concealed hatred and a desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse, a battle of wits full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death. But who am I? My name is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard. So my third little rule for a book being a potential 5 star read is read a repeat author. So for that, I chose The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. If you already know the author, you kind of already know what to expect. And with this, I already know that I can expect something funny, witty, but at the same time, there is mystery and thriller involved. So it's got a little bit of everything. So yeah, those are my 3 picks based off of those 3 little rules that hopefully will give me my next 5 star read. I really want to start off with The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and start The Plot because The Mystery Guest feels like my safest option, and so I want to reserve that for the end. This has a little over 300 pages, 316 pages, not including the epilogue. So hopefully this is going to be fast paced, and again, either a 4 or 5 star read. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So it is 3:31. Not that the time matters, but I have just finished reading part 1 of The Plot. I feel like reading 50 pages of a book kind of gives you like a good standpoint to where you can kind of draw your conclusions on how the book might go from here. So I really wanted to give like a 50-page update. Part 1 ended on page 43, which I think is a good stopping point. So far I don't think this plot will be mentioned, which is kind of a downer because that's the whole reason why I picked this book, was because I feel like a good plot makes a book fast-paced, and that's what I'm hoping for to get out of this video, is my next 4 or 5 star book. I'm still intrigued nonetheless. This first part, we meet our professor. His name is Jake, and he wrote a first novel which was really good. He considers it like his only good work. After that, he wrote a second and a third and a fourth, but they weren't even as good in his opinion. It was like a one-hit wonder, and he is working on like a 5th project, but he's like, that you can't even consider it a project because it's so bad. And so he is now teaching at a writing program where he meets Evan Parker. So this guy was super arrogant the first day of classes. He claims to have the best plot. You know, he's going on about how writing cannot be taught. As long as you have a good plot, even if you're a really good writer or a bad writer, it's going to be a great book. And so now he is privately meeting with the student to discuss this excerpt that he wrote for an assignment. The student thinks that this is all some sort of like scheme, that the professor is trying to steal this plot from him, and like he's just being so arrogant about it. And the professor admits that the plot is really good, that this kid is going to be able to be super successful in his publishing career. And that's what I mean when I say that we might not get to see what the plot is, but this is just the first 50 pages. There's still, you know, lots to go. I just wanted to go ahead and give that quick update. I'm gonna try to read at least 100 pages a day so that maybe I can finish it in 2 to 3 days. It's looking like a 4-star right now. My goal for this book is to read at least 100 pages a day, and I was able to complete that goal yesterday. I read up to page 91. Not 100 pages, but roughly close for me to be satisfied. Before I picked it up again today, I went ahead and wrote a little 100-page summary just so that I can put it in the book and have it for like future references just in case. I basically just kind of like summarize what happened in terms of what's going on in the plot, the characters, all of that. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and read another 100 pages up to page. I do want to like have a good stopping point, right? I don't want to necessarily stop right on page 200. I want to be able to kind of have like a closing thought. So it's going to be on page 199. We are going to be stopping on chapter 22 today, hopefully. But before I do that, I do have a book of the month unboxing. This is my July book of the month, I believe. I got this at the beginning of the month. I think there's 3 books in here. Every time I get my book of the month, I always like leave it on my desk so that I can open it in front of a camera, and I kind of have to wait until the next time I make a video. And so I kind of like doing that because I forget what it is that I picked for my book. So it's always like exciting. So the first book I see here is pretty thick. This is, wow, The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I was not expecting it to be this thick. It's always crazy how much of a bargain these books are because the list price for this hardback is 30 bucks. So just basically skimming the synopsis, it revolves a summer camp, August of 1975. That's all I want to know. I do know that Book of the Month revamped their look, so I want to see what it looks like underneath. It looks pretty much the same. I don't know. I thought they were gonna have more like contrasting colors. As long as it's not that ugly mustard, I'm fine with it. I have like the urge to pick this up right now, but I won't do that because I am in the middle of a video. Next book that I got is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. Love, love, love this author. Love her Good Girls Guide to Murder series. It's actually coming to Netflix, I believe, August 1st, so I'm excited for that. And yeah, this is a YA. We follow a girl named Belle. Somebody goes missing and is found again. Again, I don't want to read too much into it, but I know that I love this author already. One thing that I really liked about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was all of the media, the mixed media that was inside the book, but I don't see much of that here, but that is okay. Still looking forward to reading this. And the final book that I got is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. So I don't think I've read an Abby Jimenez book yet. All 3 of these books are pretty thick. I was not expecting them to be this thick. And yes, the bookmark is different. It's longer and slimmer. One thing that I always do to my book of the month bookmarks is I cut the edges off. So I think because it's slim, let's see what it looks like with the 4mm. Not much of a difference, but there is a difference. It just makes it look nicer. Doesn't that look fancier with the cut corners. So yeah, some great books to add to my bookshelf. So I have read up to page 211. My current stopping point is not a chapter of the book, rather it is some pages out of the book that our main character has written. So Jake, our main character, he does steal the plot line that his student once had. He finds out that his student is dead, and so he takes the plot for himself. This really reminds me of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. The one thing that this book does do is that the author, she did her research in terms of like the legal procedures that they have to take to defend oneself from defamation in terms of like suing a plot. So we have seen Jake's legal team take action. Obviously Jake has denied it and he says that all ideas are his own. I am really excited to say that we have been getting like excerpts or pages from his book, which is called Crib, and I do think that we are going to get to see the plot twist. Everybody keeps talking about the plot twist, that you don't see it coming. People who have read the book are just like giving him praise for it. I have been so invested in this book. I want to know what happens next. I feel like reading 100 pages has been like an easy task. I'm really enjoying that. I did also like write my little update note card for page 211, and I am on the last 100 pages. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep reading and update later tonight. The next day, and last night I was able to read up to page 282 of the plot, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish this right now. I have about 20 pages to go. I really could finish this last night, but I needed to get my rest because I do wake up in the middle of the night to feed a little someone. And right now I'm about to take advantage that she is asleep. I have her on me because I'm trying to keep her off of her head as much as I can, and she fell asleep. It's been really confusing to talk about this because I want to talk about the book, but also the book that's featured in the book. We are on the verge of getting truth, the answers, and hopefully it is satisfying. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up and come back with final thoughts. I just got done reading the plot, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. There wasn't really like a big lesson to take out of it or anything life-changing, but it was a good story. It was super fast-paced. I was entertained the entire time, and the plot twist did get me. If you haven't caught on yet, the plot is about a book called Crib. So the plot of Crib is supposed to be like this super revealing plot, and I think the author of the plot really distracted you with that at the very end you didn't see what was coming in the plot because you were so distracted with Crib. Yeah, like I said, super fast paced. Really liked it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my next read. I'm either going to read The Fury by Michaelides or The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. So they are both thrillers, but The Mystery Guest is going to have more comedy in it versus The Fury. I think it's going to be a more serious tone. And because I already read something sort of serious, turned out to be a thriller also, by the way. I guess I just lean towards thrillers without even knowing. I am going to read The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose to kind of lighten up the mood a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my new book of the month bookmark and start reading. So I've just stopped on chapter 10, which is page 107 on the book of the month cover. I was gonna do a 50-page update, but I got ahead of myself, and also I don't think that I can really give like a first impression of this book because it's obviously an accompanying novel. So if I kind of give the plot or the setting to this book, I give away the other one. What I can say is the first book, we follow Molly, who is a maid at a very prestigious hotel, and a very important guest is staying at that hotel. He appears dead, and so Molly is the suspect because she's a maid and because she was in charge of cleaning his room, and she also found the body. And so in this book, we see another murder that happened in the hotel with yet another VIP guest. But the difference with this one is that this death was very public, and Molly also knew this guest from long ago, from her childhood. So we also get to see her as a child. And as I've stated many times before, she is my favorite character of all time. She takes everything quite literally, so for her it's really hard to read people. It's not in a way where she's like annoying or frustrating. She's quite funny. She might not be everybody's cup of tea, but we get to see her as a child, and she is just like the perfect little daughter. She is so cute, and she loves to read, she loves spelling, and again, she takes everything so literally. And so it's really funny to read about like some of the things that her grandma tells her as like life lessons, and she doesn't know like the meaning of them. Like for example, Curiosity killed the cat. She's like, I wouldn't want to be a feline. She just doesn't get figurative speech. So we are jumping back and forth. This is first person POV. Really excited to see like where she came from, her childhood. We are jumping like back and forth between present day and then also past, and how she's connected to this person. I obviously think this is going to be a 5 stars, or else it wouldn't have been in this video. But yeah, we will see where this goes. So I've just made it to page 200. And that is chapter 21. I have 86 more pages to read to finish the book. There was this one chapter that was really heartbreaking because again, we are reading in Molly's perspective, and so one piece of that perspective is the present and then in the past when she was a child. And so she's very innocent, and we actually get to find out what happened to her mother, and they do have an encounter. And in this chapter, this encounter doesn't explicitly say that it is her mother, but you get to understand that it's her mother. Her mother was a drug addict, and so the way Molly perceives her is somebody who has like bed bugs, but really it's just like injection sites in her arm. So it's just kind of like an example of like her innocence and how the author writes it, but you clearly understand who she is and what she is and why she is not in Molly's life. So very touching, but at the same time, like I said, heartbreaking. Yeah, I have these 86 pages left to go. I just put Ari down for a nap, and I think it's going to be her longest nap of the day, which usually lasts about 2 hours. So I think I'm just gonna do like a reading sprint. I'm going to go to the living room, maybe make a cup of tea so that I don't get sleepy. And I've really been enjoying Legend of Zelda ambience rooms. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and try to finish this book today. You not? I'm trying to record. Page 242, halfway done with my reading goal for today. Taking a break and gonna have a PB&J sandwich. I'm getting kind of hungry, but I don't feel like cooking, so I'm gonna eat and finish the book. have finished reading The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose, and I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed this. The revelation of the murder wasn't anything huge. It was not like mind-bending or anything like that. This is more of like a comedy in a way. It does have its funny moments, and I just really enjoyed revisiting the characters as well. Ending was really nice, and I of course enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed listening to Grandma's anecdotes and all of her positive sayings. And I have picked up The Fury by Michaelides. I have the sleeve right here. This is another thriller. I have made it up to page 96. I was going to read to page 100, but I just finished Act 1 and I'm about to start reading Act 2, so I found it a really good stopping point to kind of talk about the book so far. One thing that I'm really enjoying is that the chapters are short. It just makes the reading a lot faster. There's no like long thoughts. There's good stopping points throughout the way, and I find that very easy to read. The main plot or the synopsis of this book is that we are in a Greek island. It's privately owned by a movie star, and she invites 4 other people into her island. So I believe it's a total of 5. Yes, so it's a total of 5 people in this island. Like I said, it's privately owned, so they only have like a gardener or a guy who basically lives there alone to take care of the island when they're not there, and a person who is cooking for them as well. So there's a total of 7 people on the island, but 5 of them are really close friends. They often spend time there in the island. It's not the first time that they've all been together in that same place. They do that quite often, and we are being told a story in the point of view of one of the characters. He has this tendency to like talk to us as the audience directly. So there is a murder involved in this book. So you have a Greek island, a murder, and a whole bunch of movie stars. He is just recounting the story. I feel like these first 100 pages just flew by, and I have 200 more pages left. I want to keep reading today. I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but so far so good. Really enjoying it. I don't know what it is about his writing. It's just so quick and so fast-paced to read about, and he's still giving us all the information that we need to know, and it's not like info dumping. I feel like he's doing a really good job of like telling us who these characters are, what they do. I am predicting this is going to be either 4 or 5 stars, and it's leaning more towards 5 stars because again, his plot twists at the end are really good. His plot twist in The Silent Patient especially was super shocking to me. I did not see it coming at all. Also, I finally hung, or my husband finally hung my degree. For the longest I've been wanting to hang it up, but I just don't know where, because I do want to like put wall art. Look at this big wall. There's nothing on it, so I just didn't know where or how it would like coordinate with whatever I put there in the future. So I decided to just kind of put it in this little corner, line it up with the desk. Hopefully I don't regret it later on, but yeah, it's finally up, even though I did change my last name. So that's no longer my last name. Good morning, everyone. I have my cup of coffee and I'm going to sit down and I think finally finish this book. I read up to page 266 last night, and I did get to the final act plus an additional chapter because the cliffhanger on the previous act, like I needed to know what happened next. I couldn't just call it quits there, and literally my eyes were like shutting, so I put it down on page 266 last night, and there are 298 pages, so almost there. This is how much I have left. I think the last time I updated was like page 100, so it's been quite some time since my last update, and so many things have happened, but it's not like I can tell y'all anyways. But basically, I knew Michaelides had something up his sleeve. This book is a little different from his other 2 books, because his other 2 books, he kind of just like made way for like the big reveal, but I feel like in this book, he's just had so many like turns, and it is so good. I really love it. And this isn't even the ending, so I can only imagine what he has in store for us for the ending of this book. This is definitely one that I really want to urge people to read because it's really good, but I haven't even finished yet, so let me finish and then I'll wrap up my thoughts for all of the books. Welcome to the end of this reading vlog where I successfully finished these 3 books here. These were all 4 to 5 star predictions, and yeah, I was pretty much on point. Just a quick recap, these were 4 to 5 star predictions based on the plot of the story, a repeat author, and a thriller. And again, I kind of cheated a little bit because this is also a repeat author, and also I didn't realize that these were all thrillers as well. What can I say? I love thrillers. I gravitate towards them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly recap and then give final thoughts. So for the plot, I ended up giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It has 5-star potentials, but I don't think that this was something that I would like highly recommend anyone. I mean, it was entertaining. I feel like it was a fast-paced read. I was entertained the whole time. I think also it was quite entertaining because it looks like the author did her research in terms of what would happen if you were to steal someone else's story, like legally. What happens, how do you defend yourself against all of that. So it was interesting seeing that. After that, I did read The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I re-encountered my top favorite character of all time, got to see her in a different light. I got to see more of her childhood. And what I really appreciated out of this is that the author wrote it in a way to where you are understanding what's going on, but in a child's perspective, like a more innocent perspective. And I enjoyed that because the author didn't have to like info dump, or she didn't have to directly explain herself. You kind of got that from clues. This book does have a lot of like life advice quotes coming from a grandma, which was very endearing as well. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. And lastly, I picked up The Fear by Alice Michaelides. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Haven't really said my final thoughts on this, so I'll go ahead and take advantage now. Alex Michaelides always has something up his sleeve. I said it before. He has very interesting plot twists. I've read 2 of his other books and they've both shocked me. Considering the fact that I read a lot of thrillers is a good sign. But this one, I've got to say, has been my favorite because there's many twists and turns throughout the book. You're just kind of like getting shock after shock, and I was just shocked the entire time. I really enjoyed it. I really liked how our characters kind of like unhinged towards the end. You see these different characters at different lights. You see their good and you see their bad. Also towards the end, there's like a little cameo from one of his other characters of his other book. And that's always something cool to pick up on as well. So 5 out of 5 stars. I can't wait to see what else he puts out there. Here again are the 3 books that I successfully read. Mostly 5 out of 5 stars. Very happy with all 3 of these reads. Would highly recommend these 2 if you haven't picked them up. So that is all. Thank you guys for coming along with me. I hope you've enjoyed this reading vlog as much as I've enjoyed making it. And I will see you in my next one.